Today's lesson is all about identity. Who are you? Reshaping your identity is the key to creating a life by design. Your identity holds immense power and influences every aspect of your life. It determines the extent of your success, your financial situation, and your achievements, your emotions, your relationships, and your self-worth. But what exactly is identity? It encompasses the thoughts, the concepts, and the beliefs that we hold as the most genuine parts of our inner being. You can put on a facade or pretend for the world, but deep down, you can't hide from yourself. You know the truth about who you are, who you really are. And here's the paradox. Most people recognize that they could radically change their lives if they changed their identity. Yet sadly, many are unwilling to take the necessary steps, even when it's in their own best interest. Are you prepared to sacrifice who you are now for who you're becoming? And it should be a hell yes! However, the truth is that majority of people, I would say 95% of the population, are content with living an average life. They never tap into their full potential, struggling financially, struggling in their relationships, and struggling with their overall well-being. Our mission is to continually grow, learn, and expand in order for us to live a fulfilling and happy life. When you commit to this path, your identity will naturally transform. Your identity is crucial because it unlocks countless amazing opportunities in your life. When you take control of your internal messages instead of being governed by external influences that undermine your happiness, you give yourself the gift of empowerment. Your identity is shaped early on in your childhood. When you were born, you were a blank canvas, impressionable and happy and accepting. You learn how to navigate the world based on the teachings of your parents, caregivers, family members, and teachers. While their intentions were mostly good, it doesn't mean that they always were right. As a child, you absorbed much of what you were told, whether it was accurate or not. Your identity became a mix of both the positive and negative influences surrounding you. This doesn't mean that everything you were taught was correct. During those early years, you lacked critical thinking skills necessary to question what you were being told. And as you grew older, you began to confirm and solidify your identity. So if somebody said you weren't smart, not good at sport, or shy, or lacking confidence, those labels become part of your identity. Even though you didn't have the ability to question it at the time, you carried these beliefs about yourself into adulthood. Your identity took root, and your limitations become ingrained within you. You may not even be sure where these limitations originated from, but you carried this baggage. By the time you reached an age where you could question your identity, you were already living with the identity you adopted when you didn't have a choice. Of course, this assumes that you're even aware of how your identity actually impacts you. Sadly, most people go through their life feeling screwed up, unsuccessful, without even understanding why. But now you're aware you have the power to change your identity once you become intentional about it. Take a moment to think about the labels and identity you have given yourself. I'm not a morning person. I'm not good with money. I'm not a good leader. I'm a perfectionist. I'm a people pleaser. I'm a procrastinator. I'm not confident. That's just who I am. Once these labels become ingrained, your behaviours become consistent with them. I want you to consider all the limiting labels and identify which ones you've adopted that are holding you back. Now, let's talk about adjusting your identity thermostat and how this concept can work in your favour. Your identity is the driving force that governs your life and determines your results. Think about it as a thermostat, setting the conditions for your life. When you enter a room that's too hot or too cold, you look for the thermostat to adjust the temperature to your liking, regardless of the external conditions. Even if it's 100 degrees outside, if the thermostat is set at 75 degrees, it kicks in and cools the room down to the desired temperature. The same principle applies to your life. If you're a 75-degree person, you'll activate the air conditioner in your life to cool things down and bring them back to what you believe you are worth. This happens every time your results start exceeding your identity. Unconsciously, you turn on the air conditioner and bring things back down to what you think you deserve. Your identity, like a thermostat, regulates your internal self-worth, actions, and results. Many people mistakenly believe that external factors determine their thermostat. They think that achieving success in business, obtaining a degree, or getting married will define their identity. However, if you don't raise your identity, you'll eventually turn on the air conditioner on in your life, bringing the temperature back down to your perceived worth, whether it's set at 75 degrees or another value you don't desire. Simply put, you can possess all the talents, the skills, the abilities you want. But until you align with your identity, you will continue to fall short of your goals in every area of your life. Let's consider your fitness identity as an example. Say you successfully lost 10 kilos at one point in your life. However, a year later you gained that weight back and found yourself back at square one. That's because your fitness identity thermostat is set at 75 degrees. You're comfortable carrying around that extra weight, and no matter how hard you try, you always drift back to that 75-degree setting. You can take all the right actions, diets, and exercise, but if your internal thermostat isn't set for success, you'll inevitably return to old thermostat settings by indulging in unhealthy eating, habits, or neglecting your workout routines. You'll use external circumstances to bring yourself back to what your internal beliefs dictate your worth. Another example is financial success. Suppose you're doing really well financially but can't seem to reach that next level of wealth that you desire. You may want $1 million in the bank, but unless you turn up your internal thermostat and truly believe you're worth that, your thermostat will always bring you back to what you think you're worth. Unless you change your internal thermostat, you'll continue to experience setbacks. You've probably encountered such setbacks before. The barriers to your success are found within you. Unconsciously, you're always finding a way to return to where your thermostat is set based on what you believe you're worth. Many people blame external forces for why they never achieve what they want. They attribute their failures to excuses like, I hurt my back and couldn't work out for 8 weeks, or the economy turned so I couldn't make money in my business. But if your thermostat isn't set high enough, you'll view these as coincidences, bad luck, or external circumstances conspiring against you. However, they're not what they seem. If your thermostat is set high enough, you'll see these setbacks as temporary and mere road bumps on your journey towards your goals and dreams. You won't allow these temporary setbacks to create permanent failures. Remember to raise your thermostat. You must think and act in alignment. It's your opportunity to turn up your thermostat and achieve the results you truly deserve. Once you buy into the concept that changing your identity is the key to changing your life, you may wonder how to adjust your thermostat and create your new identity. This is where we're going to do a little exercise now where you get to really tap into your identity, into your future self, the person that you're becoming. We've got 6 questions, and this is where you get to start to think about your thermostat and your new future self-identity. Dive in and actually see what your superpowers are, and think about those limiting identities and labels that you've given yourself to now create your future identity. It's important when you're doing this identity work that you surround yourself with the same people who are moving forward and connect with them. And that's the beauty of this group. Our true nature is our place of inner power, of clarity, of infinite possibilities. So claiming your true self will put you in touch with your infinite source of creative power.